Hello everyone. I'm Natasha, your host for today. If you're new here, let me tell you that we upload a new English learning video every day on this channel to help you improve your English faster. In today's episode, you will not only improve your English listening skills, but also boost your vocabulary and speaking fluency. In this lesson, we're diving into one of the most important parts of becoming fluent in English, growing your vocabulary. We'll explore how to learn, remember, and use new words naturally in everyday life. I'll share techniques, routines, and examples that will help you become more confident in using a wider range of English words. By the end of this video, you'll know how to build your vocabulary step by step, how to apply the words you learn in real conversations, and how to avoid forgetting them over time. You'll also get to practice with real-life situations to understand how to use new words with ease. Before we start the video, make sure to subscribe to the channel and also press the bell icon if you want more helpful English learning episodes like this. So, grab a pen and paper, let's get started. If you're someone who feels stuck with the same words over and over, always saying things like good, nice, very big, or very small, you're not alone. Most English learners struggle with vocabulary, and it's completely natural in the beginning. But improving your vocabulary doesn't mean you have to memorize hundreds of difficult words at once. It means learning useful words that you will actually use in daily conversations, and then practicing those words until they become part of your active vocabulary. There are two types of vocabulary every English learner has: passive vocabulary and active vocabulary. Passive vocabulary means the words you understand when you hear or read them, but you don't use them when you speak. Active vocabulary means the words you actually use in your own speech or writing. To become fluent, you need to increase your active vocabulary, not just recognize more words. So how do you do that? It starts with learning words in context. For example, instead of learning the word delicious from a list, it's better to see it in a real sentence like, "This pizza is delicious. I could eat it every day." You get to understand not only what the word means, but how it fits in a sentence, what tone it carries, and when it is appropriate to use it. Let's try another one. Take the word messy. You could memorize its meaning, or you could hear it in a sentence like, "His desk is always messy. Papers and books are everywhere." Now you can picture the word, feel its use, and start to remember it better. This is how vocabulary becomes alive in your mind. Now let's do a small practice exercise together. I'll tell you a short story, and I want you to focus on the vocabulary in it. After the story, I'll explain a few key words, and then you can try using them on your own. Here's the story. Sarah wakes up early every morning. She takes a quick shower and grabs a hot cup of coffee before heading out. On her way to work, she listens to an interesting podcast. At work, she's always busy with meetings, emails, and phone calls. Her job is demanding but exciting. After work, she likes to relax by reading a good book or watching her favorite show. Now, let's talk about some vocabulary from this story. The word grabs in grabs a cup of coffee is an informal way of saying she quickly takes something. Podcast is an audio program, kind of like a radio show, and it's great for listening practice. Demanding means something that requires a lot of effort or attention, like her job. And relax means to rest and feel comfortable after being busy. These are all useful words that can be part of your everyday speech. Try using them in your own sentences. For example, I grabbed a snack before the meeting, or my day was so demanding today. This kind of practice helps you move vocabulary from your passive memory into your active speaking ability. One of the best ways to improve your vocabulary is by reading. Reading exposes you to new words in context, which is much more effective than studying word lists. When you read something like a story, a news article, or even a dialogue. You start to recognize how native speakers use vocabulary in real situations. Try reading a short paragraph every day and highlight the new words you don't know. Look them up, write them down, and most importantly, try to use them. Let's say you come across the word confused. You might see a sentence like, "I was confused during the presentation because the speaker spoke too fast." Now, try making your own sentence. "I felt confused when I read the instructions." This is how learning becomes personal and meaningful. In fact, personalizing vocabulary is a powerful technique. Don't just repeat a word, connect it to your life. If you learn the word delighted, don't just memorize that it means very happy. Instead, say, "I was delighted when I got a message from my best friend." Or, "My parents were delighted with my exam results." These small moments of using new vocabulary in your own world create strong memory links. When you speak, those words will come to you naturally. Another great method is keeping a vocabulary notebook. Every day, write down a few new words that you hear, read, or learn from a video like this. But don't just write the word and the meaning. Write a sentence. Write a memory. Write how you might use it. For example, write, word, exhausted. Meaning, very tired. Sentence, I felt exhausted after walking in the sun for 2 hours. This sentence builds an image in your mind. Over time, your notebook becomes your personalized dictionary, full of words that matter to you. The more you use your vocabulary notebook, the stronger your language memory becomes. Let's do another short practice. Listen to this mini dialogue. A, hey, how was your day? B, it was tiring. I had back-to-back meetings and no break in between. A, that sounds exhausting. Want to grab a coffee and relax? In this example, you learn real spoken English. The words tiring, back-to-back, no break, and exhausting all describe the feeling of being very busy and tired. Try using those phrases in your own voice. Say, today was exhausting, or I had back-to-back tasks and felt overwhelmed. Speaking it aloud makes a huge difference. Now, if you want to remember vocabulary for the long term, you have to review it. Learning a word once is not enough. Your brain needs to see it, hear it, and use it several times before it becomes natural. So, go back to your notebook, read your old entries, say them aloud, and try using the words in new contexts. Spaced repetition, reviewing words over time, is a powerful memory technique. Set a goal to review your vocabulary every 3 days, then again after a week, and once more after a month. You'll be amazed how many words stick with you when you follow this method. You may be wondering how many words you need to know to become fluent in English. The truth is, you don't need to know every word in the dictionary. Most conversations in English use a core vocabulary of about 2,000 to 3,000 common words. If you focus on mastering those first, your speaking and listening skills will improve rapidly. Start by learning vocabulary related to your everyday life, your routines, your job, your studies, your hobbies, your family. These are the words you'll use the most. For example, if you are a student, words like assignment, deadline, lecture, notes, and revise are important for you. If you work in an office, you'll need words like schedule, meeting, report, client, and presentation. Learn what matters to you, and learning becomes easier and more enjoyable. Let's explore this with a small routine vocabulary story. Imagine a person named Ahmed. He is a university student. Every morning, Ahmed gets up at 7 a.m., takes a shower, and prepares his breakfast. He usually eats eggs, toast, and drinks a cup of tea. After breakfast, he packs his bag and catches the bus to campus. His first class starts at 9 a.m., and it's always a lecture. During class, he takes notes and listens carefully to the professor. After the lecture, he sometimes studies in the library or meets friends in the cafeteria. In the afternoon, he works on his assignments or reviews his notes. In the evening, he likes to play football or watch a movie to relax. Finally, he goes to bed by 11 p.m. Now, let's look at the vocabulary in that story. Prepares, breakfast, packs, catches the bus, lecture, notes, professor, cafeteria, assignments, reviews, relax. These are all practical, everyday words. You can personalize them like this. I usually prepare tea in the morning, or I always review my notes before exams. Don't worry about using long or advanced words at the beginning. The key is to use common words correctly and confidently. The more you practice, the more you'll naturally start using a variety of words. Another useful technique is learning word families. Word families are groups of related words that come from the same root word. For example, the word create has a family: creation, creative, creativity, creator. If you learn one word, try learning its related forms too. Let's say you learn the word decide. Then also learn decision, decisive, indecisive, and decided. This makes your vocabulary richer and helps you express the same idea in different ways. For example, instead of saying, I made a decision, you might later say, it was a decisive moment. Or, she is very indecisive. Word families open doors to more advanced expressions. Let's pause and do a short vocabulary practice using word families. Listen to this. The word is organize. You can use it like, I need to organize my closet. The noun form is organization. You can say, this organization helps people find jobs. The adjective is organized. For example, she is very organized and always on time. Now try using those in your own way. Say, I need to organize my desk. Then, the event was managed by a local organization. And finally, he's not very organized. He always loses his keys. Practicing like this helps you expand from one word to many related expressions. Using collocations is another powerful method to learn vocabulary naturally. Collocations are words that often go together. For example, we say make a decision, not do a decision. We say catch a cold, not take a cold. Learning these combinations helps your speech sound more natural and fluent. Here are some common collocations. Have a meeting, take a break, make a mistake, save time, heavy rain, strong coffee. Practice using them in full sentences like, I made a mistake in the report, or let's take a short break after lunch. When you hear new words, listen for what other words are around them. That's how you learn to use them correctly. Let's now do a mini story that includes common collocations. David had a long day at work. He made several phone calls, sent out important emails, and had a team meeting. Around 1 p.m., he took a short break to grab lunch. In the afternoon, he made a few mistakes in a report and had to correct them quickly. He stayed late to finish his tasks and finally got home after 8 p.m. These are simple sentences, but they help you practice vocabulary naturally. You're not just memorizing, you're living the language. And when you hear or read those words later, they'll feel more familiar. Listening is one of the most underrated ways to improve vocabulary. When you listen to native speakers through movies, podcasts, or YouTube videos, your brain picks up not only the meaning of new words, but also how they are used naturally. You begin to notice patterns in sentences, tone of voice, and the emotions behind words. For example, in a movie, you might hear a line like, "You've got to be kidding me." That's a natural way to express surprise or disbelief. You learn that the word kidding doesn't always mean telling a joke, but also a way to say, "You can't be serious." That kind of understanding only comes from listening in context, not from textbooks. To build your vocabulary through listening, choose content that matches your level and interests. If you're a beginner, short conversations with subtitles can be helpful. If you're intermediate or advanced, podcasts and interviews are great. While listening, write down interesting words or phrases. Then pause and try to guess their meaning. Replay the part if needed, and then look up the word. Most importantly, use the new word within 24 hours of learning it. Try speaking it, writing it, or thinking of a new sentence using that word. This quick repetition helps lock it into your memory. Let's do a small listening-style vocabulary practice now. Imagine you're listening to a podcast and you hear this. After weeks of planning, the team finally launched the new product. The results were amazing. The sales exceeded expectations. Let's explore the vocabulary. Launched means to officially start or release something, often used for products, websites, or projects. Exceeded means to go beyond or do better than what was expected. So, a sentence you can say is, "We launched our website last month, and it exceeded our expectations." Try using that word in your own way. "I exceeded my fitness goals this week," or "the show exceeded my hopes." Each time you build a new sentence, you're teaching your brain to apply the word naturally. Another key tip for improving vocabulary is to use apps or flashcards. Digital tools like vocabulary apps help you review and remember words through repetition. But don't just use flashcards with single words. Use phrases or full example sentences. For example, instead of just curious equals wanting to know, make the flashcard say, "She was curious about how the machine worked." That full sentence helps you understand tone, structure, and real usage. You can even record your voice repeating the word and play it back. This adds both speaking and listening practice at the same time. Let's take the word frustrated. A basic flashcard might say, "Frustrated equals feeling upset or annoyed." But we can improve that by using it in a relatable situation. "He felt frustrated when the internet stopped working during his online class." That's more helpful and memorable. Now you try. Say, "I was frustrated when I forgot my keys," or "She felt frustrated by the slow progress." These examples are simple, but powerful in helping the word become part of your vocabulary. Another thing that will help your vocabulary grow faster is understanding the emotions behind words. Many English words have emotional tones. They can be positive, negative, or neutral. For example, cheap and inexpensive both mean not costing much. But cheap can sometimes sound negative, like poor quality, while inexpensive sounds neutral or even positive. So instead of saying, "This shirt is cheap," you might say, "This shirt is inexpensive and looks great." Understanding these small differences helps you speak more naturally and confidently. Let's practice emotional tone. Listen to these two sentences. "He's stubborn and he's determined." Both can describe someone who doesn't change their mind easily. But stubborn often sounds negative, while determined sounds strong and positive. Try using each one. "My brother is so stubborn. He never listens." And then, "She's very determined to finish her degree." You see how emotion changes everything? Paying attention to tone while learning vocabulary will help you choose the right word in the right situation. Another common area where learners get stuck is using the wrong preposition with vocabulary. Some words always go with specific prepositions. These are called dependent prepositions. For example, we say interested in, not interested on, or good at, not good in. It's easy to get confused, but practice helps. Think of this sentence, "I'm interested in photography." Now say, "He's good at cooking and she's afraid of heights." Notice how each verb or adjective has its matching preposition. Start a list in your notebook of vocabulary plus preposition combinations. Add to it each time you learn a new one. Let's do a short story with preposition phrases. Emily is passionate about painting. She's proud of her work and often shows it to her friends. They're always impressed by her talent. Last week, she applied for a local art exhibition. She's hopeful about getting selected. In that short story, we heard passionate about, proud of, impressed by, hopeful about. These phrases are more natural when learned together. And you can now try using them in your own sentences. Say, I'm proud of my progress in English, or my teacher was impressed by my presentation. A fun and creative way to practice vocabulary is through storytelling. You don't need to be a writer, just create simple stories around the words you've learned. The more you use a word in different situations, the more it becomes part of your active vocabulary. Let's try this together. Choose 3 words: excited, trip, and adventure. Now make a story. Last weekend, I was so excited because I went on a trip with my friends. We visited the mountains and had a little adventure while hiking. It was an amazing experience. Simple, right? But very effective. Now let's do a second storytelling practice with more advanced words. Use the words challenge, improve, and focus. Here's a story. Learning English was a big challenge at first. I didn't know where to begin, but I decided to focus on improving one skill at a time. First, I worked on my listening. Then I started reading simple books. Day by day, I saw my vocabulary grow. Now I feel more confident when I speak. Try creating your own version of this story with different words. You'll be surprised how fast you learn. Some learners make the mistake of learning too many new words at once. It's better to learn fewer words, but practice them more deeply. Focus on learning 5 to 10 new words a day. Write them down, make sentences, say them aloud, and review them at night before you sleep. Sleep helps your brain consolidate new information. So reviewing before bed is a powerful technique. If you keep learning in this focused way every day, your vocabulary will grow naturally and steadily. You can also label items in your house with vocabulary stickers. This is especially helpful for beginners. For example, stick a note that says mirror on your mirror or fridge on your fridge. Each time you see it, you remember the word. You can even go further and label actions. Write brush teeth near the bathroom sink or boil water near the stove. This visual connection between words and objects or actions builds strong memory links. Over time, you'll stop needing the labels because the words will already live in your mind. Lastly, talk about your day in English using new vocabulary. Before you sleep, try to say 3 or 4 sentences about your day. For example, today I had a long meeting at work. It was exhausting, but I managed to finish everything. I felt proud of my productivity. Then reflect. Which new words did you use? Which ones do you want to use tomorrow? This daily habit builds fluency and vocabulary together, and you'll start seeing improvements within weeks. Let's now talk about using emotions and memory together to remember new vocabulary more effectively. When you connect a word to a feeling or a personal memory, it stays in your mind much longer. For example, if you learn the word nervous, try to think about a time you felt that way. Maybe during a test or before a presentation. Say to yourself, I was nervous before my first job interview. The emotion you associate with the word helps anchor it in your memory. Do this with all emotional vocabulary. Think of words like excited, worried, angry, grateful, hopeful, and create small personal memories. I felt excited when I got a birthday surprise. I was worried when my phone stopped working during travel. These connections are powerful tools for long-term memory. Let's try another short vocabulary story together. Using emotional words. Olivia was excited about her first solo trip. She packed her bag with care and planned everything in advance. But when she reached the airport, she realized she had forgotten her passport. She felt extremely anxious and didn't know what to do. Thankfully, her friend brought it to her just in time, and she was so relieved. This story uses vocabulary like excited, anxious, and relieved, all very useful emotional words. Now you try. Create your own memory using these words. It could be real or imaginary. I was anxious before my speech, but I felt relieved when it was over. Keep practicing like this every day, and your vocabulary will grow stronger and more connected to your own experiences. Another technique that works well is using contrast words. When you learn a new word, also learn its opposite. This doubles your vocabulary and helps you understand shades of meaning. For example, learn both generous and selfish, polite and rude, early and late, strong and weak. This makes it easier to describe situations more accurately. Let's practice with opposites. My neighbor is very generous. She often shares her homemade food. Now the opposite. My classmate is quite selfish. He never helps anyone. Using these in contrasting examples improves your sentence skills too. Let's do a few more opposite word pairs with simple examples. Big and small. The house is big, but the garden is small. Fast and slow. He drives fast, but I prefer to go slow. Noisy and quiet. The restaurant was noisy, so we went to a quiet cafe instead. These are real-life sentences that you can adjust to your daily conversations. As you go through your day, think about opposites. If it's hot outside, think, it's hot today. Yesterday was cold. This kind of practice happens in real time and doesn't take extra study hours. It's learning while living. Also, focus on words that describe action. Verbs are the heart of any sentence. If you want to describe your day, express your feelings, or explain your ideas, verbs help you do that. So, start paying special attention to action words like walk, run, cook, fix, build, solve, explain, carry, watch, and talk. For example, instead of saying, I went to work, add action. I completed a project, attended 2 meetings, and solved a customer issue. That's much more expressive. Learn 3 new verbs each day and use them in your diary or when speaking to yourself in English. Let's do a quick activity now. Imagine your morning. Try to describe it using at least 5 action words. For example, I woke up at 7 a.m., brushed my teeth, took a shower, cooked breakfast, and checked my emails. That's already 5 actions. Woke, brushed, took, cooked, checked. Try doing the same every day. Describe your morning, your work, your evening, always using verbs. This keeps your vocabulary active and relevant. It's also helpful to focus on topic-based vocabulary. Choose a topic each week and learn words related to it. For example, take the topic health. Learn words like exercise, diet, illness, recover, appointment, prescription. Then practice them. Say, I have a doctor's appointment tomorrow. Or, she recovered quickly from the flu. The next week, pick a different topic like technology and learn words like download, update, software, screen, and device. Say, I updated my phone yesterday. Or, the screen cracked when I dropped it. Topic-based learning makes your vocabulary more organized and easier to remember. Let's do a practice with the topic of food. Here's a short paragraph. I went to the market to buy some fresh vegetables. I picked up tomatoes, onions, and spinach. Then I stopped at the bakery to get a loaf of bread. In the evening, I cooked a vegetable curry and had it with rice. Vocabulary from this story includes market, fresh, bakery, loaf, cook, curry. Use these in your own version. I bought a loaf of bread yesterday. Or, I like fresh vegetables more than frozen ones. These are the kinds of words you'll use often in conversations, especially when talking about meals, shopping, or daily routines. A good way to test your vocabulary progress is to have short conversations with yourself. Ask questions and answer them out loud. For example, what did you do today? Answer, I went to the grocery store, bought fruits and vegetables, then cleaned my room and listened to music. Or ask, how was your weekend? And say, it was relaxing. I stayed home, watched a movie, and read a few chapters of a novel. Talking like this helps you get comfortable using different types of vocabulary in full sentences. It's a private way to practice, without fear of making mistakes. Now let's do a quick role-play exercise. Imagine you're talking to a friend who is visiting your city for the first time. What do you say? Welcome to my city. I'll show you around. First, we can visit the museum. Then, we'll have lunch at my favorite restaurant. After that, we can take a walk by the lake. Vocabulary from this includes visit, show around, museum, lunch, walk, lake. Now try the same with your own ideas. Say, we can go to the park and then have coffee at a nice cafe. This kind of imagined dialogue builds not just vocabulary, but confidence in everyday speaking situations. Sometimes learners ask, should I learn slang or idioms? The answer is yes, but slowly. Start with basic idioms and expressions that are used often in daily life. For example, break the ice means to start a conversation in a relaxed way. Under the weather means feeling sick. Piece of cake means something is very easy. Say, talking to new people helps break the ice. Or, this assignment was a piece of cake. Don't try to learn hundreds at once. Just learn a few. Understand their meaning and use. And try to include them when you speak or write. Let's do one more short practice story using idioms. John had a big presentation at work. He was feeling under the weather, but he didn't want to miss it. He tried to break the ice with a joke before he started. The presentation went smoothly, and his boss said he did a great job. Afterward, John said, it was a piece of cake. From this story, we see 3 idioms used naturally. You can try them in your own sentences now. Say, I broke the ice by asking a simple question. Or, even though I was under the weather, I still went to class. That's how idioms become a part of your vocabulary. Finally, be patient with your learning. Vocabulary takes time to build, just like any other skill. Some days you'll remember everything. Other days, you might forget even the simple words. That's okay. Learning is not about perfection, it's about progress. Keep practicing, keep repeating, and keep using what you learn. Every word you learn and use brings you one step closer to fluency. Keep your environment filled with English. Whether it's listening to English music, reading an English blog, watching an English video, or speaking a few words with yourself, and your vocabulary will grow naturally, without pressure. Another valuable strategy for vocabulary improvement is to connect words with personal experiences. When you associate a new word with something meaningful in your life, it sticks better in your memory. For instance, if you learn the word serene and you remember a moment sitting quietly by the lake with no distractions, that image and feeling will make the word more memorable. Try this practice. Think of a peaceful moment in your life. Now describe it using new vocabulary, like serene, tranquil, or calm. Say the sentence out loud and write it down. The more senses and emotions you tie to your learning, the stronger your retention becomes. It's not just about the word, it's about the story behind it. Reading aloud is also a fantastic way to reinforce vocabulary and improve pronunciation simultaneously. When you read with your voice, your brain processes the structure and meaning of each word more deeply. Choose a short story or article, underline the new words, learn them, and then read the passage out loud slowly. Pause when needed. Think about what each sentence is trying to express. The repetition of seeing, saying, and hearing a word increases your fluency and confidence. For today's practice, try this. Pick a story you like. Underline 5 unfamiliar words, learn their meanings. Then read one paragraph out loud. Twice a day. Within a week, you'll see noticeable improvement in your speaking and vocabulary clarity. As we move toward the end of this lesson, let's talk about mindset. Vocabulary learning is not a race, it's a journey. Some days, you'll remember everything. Other days, you'll forget even the words you thought you knew. That's okay. What matters is showing up every day with the intention to grow. Set small, daily goals. For example, today I will learn 3 new words and use them in a conversation. Or, I will write 1 paragraph using the vocabulary I studied this week. Consistency is more powerful than intensity. It's better to practice 15 minutes every day than 2 hours once a week. Little efforts build big fluency over time. To wrap things up, here's a final exercise for your vocabulary journey. Let's call it My Vocabulary Week. Each day, write down 3 new words that you hear, read, or learn. On the 7th day, review all of them. Write 1 paragraph, using as many of the words as possible. Read that paragraph out loud and record your voice. Listen to it. You'll be amazed by the progress you've made in just 1 week. This habit will not only help you learn, but also track your growth in a visible, meaningful way. Remember, learning vocabulary is not about memorizing a dictionary. It's about building a relationship with the language. Exploring, experimenting, making mistakes, and growing every day. You now have the tools, strategies, and practice examples to make your vocabulary stronger, richer, and more useful in your daily life. Don't wait for the perfect time to begin. Start now, start small, but stay steady. With daily dedication and smart practice, you'll be amazed at how much progress you can make in just a few weeks. Thank you so much for staying with me till the end of the video. I hope you found this lesson helpful and motivating. If you enjoyed this episode and want more daily English lessons to improve your speaking, writing, listening, and vocabulary skills, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, English in Minutes. Also, press the bell icon so you never miss our upcoming lessons. And if you have any questions or want to share your favorite vocabulary learning tips, feel free to leave a comment below. I always love hearing from you and supporting your English journey. I'm Natasha, and it's been a pleasure guiding you through today's topic on how to improve your English vocabulary. Keep practicing, keep believing in yourself, and most importantly, enjoy the process. See you in the next video. Take care and happy learning.